What is going on, everybody? How is everybody doing today? Welcome back here today to a ESPN 2022 mock draft reaction that was pretty much posted 2 days ago on April 25th. I did pay $7 for this monthly subscription for ESPN Plus just to get this out for you guys. So, you know what? That's dedication right there. But yeah, we're going to be going through their mock draft. It's going to be nice to kind of see where they have certain guys going. I'm curious to see who's going to be number 5. Is it going to be AJ Griffin? Is it going to be Johnny Davis, Keegan Murray, Benedict Mathurin, Jalen Duren? One of those guys we could see there with the 5th overall pick. So I'm just kind of curious to see where some of those guys go. I'm excited to see who they have my Knicks taking. That'll be interesting. And I'm also intrigued to see who's going to go number 1 by the picture. Is it going to be Jabari Smith? And let's see, is there anything that I need to kind of go over? Doesn't really look like it, so let's get into it. So number 1 overall, they have Chet Holmgren going to the Houston Rockets. I like it. I think, like, if you have Alperen Sengun, you shouldn't stay away from Chet Holmgren. I think he's a better player than Sengun, and him and Sengun could probably play together. I do think if you draft Holmgren, you should look to see what the Christian Wood market is like. Could you get another first-round pick? Could you get maybe a better veteran? Could you get a good point guard on your team, and you can automatically be better next year? I don't know what point guards are going to be in the market, but you could maybe go after one, and then we'll see what the whole John Wall saga is going with. But yeah, Chet Holmgren, number 1. We'll see if he can kind of frame out. And he can kind of just, I guess, put on weight, put on muscle, you know, because I don't think he could be that same size coming to the NBA. I don't know what he would be like going up against guys like Giannis and Embiid, but I think he'll be a great defender. I think there's a chance Banchero and Smith are better offensive players, but I don't think you can go wrong. I think Chet probably has the lowest floor out of the 3, because say his offensive game doesn't really work out, he's most likely going to be an elite defender in this league. Say he's like a Rudy Gobert, but he has a shot. And then if you look at maybe guys like Jabari Smith and Banchero, who are a little bit less versatile and a little bit less, I guess, known for their defense, if their offense, like, they're not hitting their shots, Jabari Smith can't really create his own shot too much. So if he can't do that at the next level, that's a little bit of a risky pick, and then Banchero kind of obviously has his limitations as well. So they have Jabari Smith going to the Orlando Magic. I like this pick for them. I like Jabari Smith, I think, over Banchero in the draft. Yeah, I will have to figure out what my big board's going to look like if I'm going to make one. But I like Jabari Smith going to the Magic. I think he's more of a 4, even a small ball 5, rather than being a 3. But maybe he's athletic enough, honestly, to be a 3. Like, that could... Yeah, he's got that or he's got, I guess, that position versatility is what I'm trying to say. And if they were to get Jabari Smith, they kind of have a logjam there in that 3-4. Like Chuma Okeke, their first round pick from 2019, probably not like a long-term piece that you're going to in the starting lineup, or even if you envision him as a starter. Franz Wagner, standout rookie from last year's draft. Jonathan Isaac, who hasn't played in a few years, is coming back. Does he get relegated to the bench? Does he get possibly traded? If he were to get traded, if this pick is made, I would love Portland going after Jonathan Isaac, because he'd be a great defender for them if he can kind of play how he used to be. So I like Jabari Smith. Him and Wendell Carter Jr. on the front court for the future, Franz Wagner at the 3, and then you figure out your backcourt rotation with Suggs, Cole, and Fultz. I like that a lot. On to number 3 here with the Pistons. They take Paolo Banchero, who I just would love Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey. And honestly, if I am Detroit at 3, I think I would take Ivy over Banchero, because you're solidifying your backcourt for the future. You kind of already have your 3 for the future as well in Saddiq Bey. Stewart could be the center for the future, but you really wouldn't go for an upgrade. Like, you would not take Chet Holmgren because of Isaiah Stewart, you know? So Banchero, though, good fit. You could see what can happen with Killian Hayes. You got Bey, and then you plug in Banchero there at the 4. You trade what's his name, Jeremy Grant in the offseason possibly, but I kind of like the idea of them getting, I feel like the idea of getting Jaden Ivey. I think I would like Jaden Ivey here for them. And I think Jaden Ivey could get some maybe pre-draft hype if when the lottery, we figure out the lottery and teams are like, okay, that have franchise point guards, we would love Ivey here. So Ivey, imagine Ivey next to Jalen Suggs in that backcourt, or Cole Anthony, and Ivey next to Jalen Green would be fun if they were in that 3 slot. So yeah, by process of elimination, this should be the top 4. I'm not going to say it will be, because we all thought Kuminga and even Jalen Suggs were going to go ahead of Scotty Barnes last year, and Scotty Barnes ended up getting Rookie of the Year. So there's a chance that somebody could get some pre-draft hype and can end up being the 4th overall pick. But we think that's going to be top 4. Process of elimination, you got to take Jaden Ivey. The Thunder don't really need Ivy. So if they were in the trade market, this is where they could trade, because you have Shea, you have Giddey, you you have Trey Mann. Is it going to be worth, like, can you give all those guys 30 minutes a night? And, like, obviously Giddey and Shea are locked in for 30 plus minutes. You would like to still develop Mann. That means Tal Maladon will probably be on his way out. Dort plays, I guess, more of a 3 than a 2. And you could go super small with Shea, Giddey, and Ivy out there, but you need to work on getting bigs because Dort, good defender. Could he defend the 4 possibly? Maybe be a Rudy Gobert team. I don't know. But you would have to definitely wrap out the defense. So number 5, they have Keegan Murray going 5. I think if I were Indiana, I would even look to trade down if I were them. See if a team would give you maybe an additional first and you move down maybe 4 or 5 spots and work on your draft capital there. But I think, yeah, I guess he would just replace the minutes of Domantas Sabonis. You still have Turner as your 5. You have Halliburton and Brogdon in your backcourt next year, and maybe Chris Duarte at the 3. Don't mind the Murray pick. I like a couple other players as prospects more at this pick in Johnny Davis, AJ Griffin, and Benedict Mathurin. So I would not be a huge fan of that, but Murray, he's a little bit older, 21, worked out for them last year getting Duarte, but this is a much bigger decision at 5. Next up, we have, or even this player too, I keep forgetting he's in this draft, Shaedon Sharpe. I think Indiana isn't going to be great next year. They could definitely be a play-in tournament team, but hey, why don't you take the upside on Shaedon Sharpe? Him and Halliburton, can you be your backcourt for the future? And then maybe you look to trade Brogdon on draft night for someone. I think he would be eligible to be traded on draft night, but Portland at 6, love Shaedon Sharpe. I think they need to develop this young core. You don't really need it to because you kind of have an undersized backcourt or not a great defensive backcourt in Simons and Lillard as it is. But I think just adding more talent there, is just a step in the right direction. I believe they'll have 2 first-round picks this year from the Pelicans, CJ McCollum trade. So I'm just hoping that they hit the picks or hit on their picks and they could get a good prospects. I could see Portland winning the lottery. I really can. Next up, we have the Sacramento Kings at 7, taking Johnny Davis. Love this for them. Another guard, because now you got Fox, Mitchell, and Johnny Davis. I think they'd be a good Jalen Duren team. And would I take Duren at 7? It's a little bit of a reach. It is. I think for what he provides on the basketball court, maybe you trade down a little bit to take Jalen Duren, but I would like him on the Kings. I would also like, I like Johnny Davis. I think he can play up in the league. I think he could maybe give you some small forward minutes, and Barnes could be a trade piece. So you can have Mitchell, Fox, and Davis all out there at the same time. I think that could work well, especially because Fox is a plus defender and Mitchell's a really good defender. Next up, we have the Pelicans via the Lakers taking another Duke forward. They already have 2 on the roster in Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson. Let's add another one in AJ Griffin. Yeah, I guess he's best player available for me. I think there'll be a big case for me to figure out who I like more in AJ Griffin or Benedict Mathurin. But for the Pelicans, I like this. They're a team that also needs to add some point guard depth, so I wouldn't mind them. I mean, they could have another pick, and then, or maybe make a trade and try to get like a Kennedy Chandler or something like that. It could be a big trade down draft, like would 8P2I to take Kennedy Chandler? One of these point guards like Chandler, Montero, Washington. There's probably another one I'm forgetting. Maybe Hugo. Like a lot of these guys, like one of those guys is probably gonna get a lot of pre-draft hype, and we could see another one in the lottery. After kind of like Ivy being the only point guard, I wouldn't really consider Johnny Davis or Shaedon Sharpe point guards. So yeah, I don't mind that pick for them. I like it, adding to their young core as it is. And then we got San Antonio taking Jalen Duren here at 9, so they have him being a top 10 pick. Yeah, they could use Jalen Duren. I think you're kind of good with your point guard, obviously, franchise guy and DeJounte Murray. You can run a good wing duo out there with Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, maybe in your final 5 minutes, maybe not a starting lineup because Vassell can come off the bench, or vice versa. So you already spent a lottery pick last year on a guard, and Joshua Primo. You have also Lonnie Walker there as well. I think Duren would be a good pick because Pirtle better, obviously, and Pirtle's a good player, but Duren could be a good backup center, and could be a nice option if Pirtle is like gonna get overpaid on the open market. Next up, we have, I guess this is another point guard I didn't mention that could get some lottery hype. Is Dyson Daniels out of the G League. Was kind of not known to be, or wasn't projected to be, the top G League player this year. You could have looked at, I guess Marjan, or you could have looked at Jaden Hardy, who was pretty much a consensus top 10 pick or top 10 prospect going into this year. Dyson Daniels, they need a point guard, so I love this for the Wizards. Mathurin, better player. Daniels better, higher upside, but Mathurin definitely a higher floor. I think they need a point guard. This year it was just kind of a revolving door. Dinwiddie didn't work out. They traded him at the deadline. You have Beal and you have Porzingis now. They could be a trade team as well because they have a plethora of forwards and wings and KCP. We'll see what happens with Beal. They got Avdia, Hashimura, Kuzma. So they could be a team that could be in the trade market as well. Number 11, we have my New York Knicks. Honestly, if Mathurin's there, I'll be happy. I want a point guard. I wouldn't mind Kennedy Chandler, Ty Washington, or Dyson Daniels there at 11 if Mathurin was off the board. But since Mathurin is here, I would love that for the Knicks. Another forward, I mean, this would probably hurt Cam Reddish, but if they're able to move Alec Burks this offseason, I like it. The Knicks, I don't think are really going to move off any of their veterans, which is frustrating to say. At least any of their veteran wings in Burks and Fournier, maybe because of their contracts, and maybe they value Burks. And D Rose is probably there to stay. So I like Mathurin. I just hope this wouldn't affect Cam Reddish's minutes next year. But knowing the Knicks and me just being a Knicks fan, it probably will. Number 12, we got the OKC Thunder taking Ousmane Dieng. Wow. I'm definitely going to have to Ousmane Dieng. Hopefully it's pronounced like Gorgie Zhang and it's not Dieng, but I would say it's more Zhang. But you can correct me down below. Don't know much about him. He played in the NBL. I believe the New Zealand Breakers was the same team LaMelo was on. But I've heard his defense is a high upside player. They do need a big. So I think if I'm the Thunder, I would call up the Spurs and trade from, like, if Jalen Duren was on the board at 9, I would call up the Spurs, give him a first round pick. Maybe I think they have another one in the draft, but if they don't, give them one next year, move up 3 spots and 12, and then get Jalen Duren and end this draft class with Jalen Duren and Jaden Ivey. That would be a hell of a draft class for them. Next up at 13, we have the Hornets. So, hey, if we think Mark Williams is going the lottery, then you could just take him there at 12, because the Thunder need big men. Hornets, I like this to an extent. I mean, you have Plumlee. Well, we'll see if he's back next year. Kai Jones took him in the first round next year. You're going to take another first-round center in Mark Williams. Are you giving up on Kai Jones this easily? Possibly. I don't think I like this for them as well. Wouldn't mind backup point guard here if you're going to look at like maybe Kennedy Chandler or Ty Washington. So I'm not a fan of Mark Williams to Charlotte. I would like him better to OKC. Next up at 14, we have Ochai Agbaji going to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Love this for them. This is who they need. The Cavs want to be back next year in the playoffs, and getting somebody that's a senior, right? Or at least an upperclassman coming out of Kansas. I believe he's a senior, right? Does it say it? I think he's a senior. I don't know why I'm second guessing myself, but one of the better players in college basketball, one of the more NBA ready players in college basketball. Love this for Cleveland. They want to be a 6 seed or better next year. I'm sure they want to avoid the play-in tournament now. So I actually love this pick. I think that's who they should target at 14. Next up at 15, the Charlotte Hornets pick again. Oh, okay. So the Blazers don't get 2 picks. I think maybe the Pelicans had to miss the playoffs for the Pelicans to get that pick. Or excuse me, from the Blazers to get the Pelicans pick. So the Hornets get another one. Take Jeremy Shohan. I like that. We'll see if Gordon Hayward's moved. You can move Bridges back to the 3. So N could be a guy at the 4. And then obviously you have PJ Washington to mention him before in bigs. But he's kind of like a fringe 4 or 5. Next up at 16, we have Malachi Branham out of Ohio State. He's been a riser out of late, or as of late. I feel like he's been kind of rising up mock drafts, and the Hawks do need a 2. I just kind of recorded my Hawks elimination rebuild, so you guys, I think, will be seeing that tomorrow on the main channel. And I talked about it. I don't think Bogdan or Kevin Huerter is the answer long-term next to Trae Young. You get somebody that could be a 3-and-D guy. I mean, you'll see who I acquire in that video. But yeah, you get somebody that can progress. He doesn't need to be a great scorer. You can leave that to DeAndre Hunter, John Collins, and obviously Trae Young. But you get somebody that can average 10, 11 points a night, shoot 37+% from 3, and I'm kind of maybe describing Kevin Huerter, but heck, give me elite defense. Like Marcus Smart, that can be an elite shooter. I mean, I'm not saying as good of a defender as Marcus Smart, because that's tough to be, just one decoy, but just a good enough defender, that perfect 3-and-D guy. Next up at 17, we have the Rockets getting a point guard. Yeah, they need one. I think they should definitely use their second-round pick, and if you can pick between Ty and Kennedy Chandler there at 17, I like that a lot for them. At 18, we have the Chicago Bulls taking Tari Eason. They need defense. They really do. They need somebody that can play in that front court defensively. Vucevic not cutting it out. Just behind him. They don't have much. And hopefully Patrick Williams is fully healthy next year. But I like that for Chicago. I even think I would like him to Atlanta maybe to provide more defense. Or even, I think, yeah, I like Tari Eason over Jeremy Shohan. Next up, we have Nicole Yovich going to the Timberwolves. It seemed, I don't know. They're trying to be back next year. They're down 3-2 to the Grizzlies as I'm recording this. They should be up. They should have won the series because they should have won, was it game 3? And they could have won last night as well. And Nicole Yovich, could he be that 4 next to Cat? I think Tari Eason would be perfect now that I think about it to Minnesota. So we'll see who's available for them there. But they should really hit on this pick. They kind of need. Nah, they don't really need to, but it would be great for their development if they can. Next up, Kennedy Chandler to the Spurs. Yeah, at 20th overall, you basically traded a second and Thad Young to get Kennedy Chandler. Love that. Be the backup point guard behind Dejounte Murray. Think he's an upgrade over Trey Jones. Can work out in the future. But some teams like that like to get a veteran point guard. Marjon Beauchamp here to the Nuggets. Love that. High upside guy from the G League Ignite. Wing can play the 2 or the 3. Could even play the 4. Actually, maybe not. Yeah, I'm not thinking about it. Probably not. But he's a good wing. Couldn't score at the level or at a high level. They've had their injuries this year. They could have used them, like a spark plug off the bench. But in due time, he could develop to be better than Will Barton. Will Barton out. Marjon's your guy. 22, we got Memphis taking Blake Wesley. I feel like they could be a team that could maybe trade their picks, but either way, I love Blake Wesley out of Notre Dame. I really do. He's going to be a great shooter in this league, and I think he'll be a great shooter in the league. And then I don't know. He's not going to get a lot of playing time in Memphis, but I think that's a great position to get into. Play behind other good shooters, learn from them in Desmond Bane and Dylan Brooks, who were late first-round picks. So, yeah, I like that a lot for Memphis, and I think that'd be, he doesn't need to play his first year. He doesn't. We have the Nets taking Walker Kessler. They need big man depth. We'll see what's going on with Claxton. Drummond, if they're going to be back at all. If not, yeah, you got to take some high upside guys. Kessler, 23, is beautiful. I think they could land Mark Williams somehow in this draft. That would be perfect as well, but I don't mind Kessler. I don't. So the Nets can choose this to be 2023 pick. I don't think they will do that. I don't. Yeah, I don't see them doing that. EJ Liddell going to the Bucks at 24. Like this. NBA ready guy. I think he could be a good defender, good three-pointer, and kind of giving you, like a 3-and-D guy who's maybe an undersized 4 at 6'7", but you can play up, and I think, he'll be a 3-and-D guy, which Milwaukee needs. He probably will become valuable to a lot of these other teams that, I could see him going to Minnesota there as well. 25, we got Kendall Brown to the Spurs. Another guy that's super raw, not going to be great right away. And the Spurs, who probably aren't going to be great next year. I mean, the Spurs will be respectable. I don't know if they'll be a playoff team. I don't think they will, with teams like Portland and Sacramento getting better. Playing tournament team. And the Lakers, I would guess. So let him develop. I like that at 25. I think that's a low-risk, high-reward pick. Jaden Hardy, speaking of low-risk, high-reward. Jaden Hardy, man, he was just so inefficient this year in the G League. Just didn't look right. And I don't know what people say, the talent's better in the G League or it's better in college. I don't think it's looked as better in the G League. But playing with Luka will help his development. Playing under Jason Kidd, I don't know. But at 26, Dallas kind of needs to hit on a pick. And he's got high upside. Him, Patrick Baldwin, these guys are projected lottery picks going into the year. Take a flyer. 26th overall picks don't pan out all the time. Try to maybe take a risk on one that can. 27, Trevor Keels, Miami Heat. Like this. Yeah, I think Keels, I guess, will be a first-round pick. I honestly thought it would be an early second-round pick, but he could be, I feel like, a good defender. High basketball IQ, pretty much what Miami needs. And they need to figure out their point guard in 2 years from now. Will that be Keels? Possibly, with Kyle Lowry getting up there in age. Might as well lock him under a 4-year deal. Christian Brown, kind of love this pick to the Warriors. I do. Get another wing. Eventually, they're going to, I think, lose Wiggins because they're going to pay Jordan Poole a lot of money. So just add these wings, recycle them. I like Brown. It's not Braun. Gotta get used to that. It's Christian Brown, and he can just kind of be another high basketball IQ guy to one of these good teams. And that, if you're Trevor Keels, if you're Christian Braun, you're going into great situations. EJ Liddell for them. Next up, we have Memphis Bryce McGowan's, another wing similar to Blake Wesley, kind of size and position. Going to Memphis, I don't really see them doubling up on that. I think they might lose Tyus Jones in free agency, so I could see them maybe targeting a point guard or maybe packaging 29 and what was the other one? 29, and I definitely just skipped it. 22, moving up maybe to the late or the mid-teens, and getting that backup point guard because Kyle Anderson's a free agent, I believe, who I don't think they're going to bring back, and Tyus Jones. I think Tyus Jones won't be coming back because they're going to pay Ja a lot of money. They're going to eventually have to pay Desmond Bane a lot of money. Brooks might want an extension soon. They got to pay a lot of guys soon. They just paid, what's his name? Jaren Jackson Jr. And 30, we have Gene Montero going to the Thunder. Another guard. No, they need to take some big men. They do. With Patrick Baldwin Jr. there, take him. So there's Hugo Besson from the NBL as well in the second round. Just kind of going to shout out a couple guys that I like. Wendell Moore going to the Magic. Christian Coloco. Hey, just take him there at 30. Maybe not as high as upside, but you need big man depth. You need people that can pan out in the draft. Justin Lewis, I think he can go a little bit higher out of Marquette. J.D. Davison. Damn, it's crazy he's a second-round pick now. I thought he was going to be a first-round pick going into the year. Same with Max Christie. as well. Clippers, that seems like Brandon Boston written all over it. Part 2, Yannick Nasoza, I feel like he could go higher just due to his potential and his upside. But yeah, the Pistons, stash him, you're going to be bad. Keep him, and then just try to develop him. And Jaden Hardy, kind of like that, similar to like the Nico Mannion pick from a couple years ago. A good point guard in college. We'll see if they can pan out in the NBA. Harrison Ingram at 54. Love that. I do. And Chew Timmy, we'll see if he gets drafted. Michael Foster, another G League guy that didn't really dominate too well, as maybe he was hoping to going into this year. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of this mock draft down below. Drop a like if you did enjoy the video and you want me to react to like maybe a Bleacher Report mock draft or a Ringer mock draft or CBS Sports. Let me know. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.